So today we are going to discuss about second chapter of class 9th chemistry, is matter around us pure. So from the title of this chapter, there is one term that's matter and there is another main term that's pure. So therefore, there might be some matters which are having pure substances and some might be impure. So firstly, let's develop in the definition of matter. So matter is anything which occupies space and has mass and can be apprehended and can be held up by more than our five senses. It is having mass and will occupy space and can be apprehended by more than of our five senses. Now coming to the classification part, this matter based on its properties, that is physical properties and chemical properties. Now based on physical properties, we are having five different states. These three are normal states: solid, liquid and gas. These occur at certain temperature and pressure, are normal, NTP or STP. And this is, if we further increase the temperature, this is high energy state. This is called a plasma, and this is called Bose-Einstein condensate. If we decrease this is lowest temperature state. So these five states are there. So this whole part is studied under chapter first, that is matter in our surroundings, which we have done already. Now in the second chapter, we are having, based on chemical properties, we differentiate, we classify our matter into pure substance, and second one is impure substance. So the question arises, there are some pure substances. Are there some pure substances and some impure? Yes. So pure does not mean they are dirty. No. Pure means there might be some other substances. Impure means there might be some other substances, and pure means there is only one component present in that very substance. Now on the basis of purity, we are having elements, we are having compounds, and impure substances are usually known by a name called mixtures. Now as we know, elements are there in the periodic table. There are approximately 118 more or less, and in them, among them, some are metals, some are non-metals, and some are metalloids. Now metals are usually 93, non-metals are 18, and metals are 17. Now these are on the basis of, now this is the classification of elements in the periodic table, modern periodic table, so-called long form periodic table. Now impure mixtures, we will further discuss them. Now coming to our main topic, that is pure substance, because this chapter is the part of first chapter, and now this is the part of second chapter. Now we need to rub this part because we'll start from our second chapter, that is based on chemical property. We'll start pure substance. So let us delve into the pure substance. Now as we know from the virtue of word, pure means which will be having only one kind of particles. So pure substance means which consists of only one kind of particles. For example, gold is an element having symbol Au, atomic number 79. Now if we have a slice of gold, a biscuit of gold, as you can see, if we cut its one fragment, this one fragment will also represent gold. That means if you see the inner composition of gold, at every single point, at every single fragment, it will represent this gold. That means it is only having one kind of particle inside it. Now this is pure substance. Now based on some characteristics, we can identify pure substance. So can we say that pure substance are those which are having uniform composition? Obviously. So characteristics of pure substances. Now first characteristic is they are having uniform composition. Now if we say they are having uniform composition, that means they are homogeneous in nature, means they are homogeneous, same genus in nature. This is the first characteristic. The second characteristic is they are having definite set of properties. Their properties are fixed, or we can say definite set of properties, and properties are fixed. Now for example, let's take an example of water. Water is formed when only two molecules of hydrogen, that is 2 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of oxygen, are combined in a fixed ratio. When there is term of this fixed ratio, that means they are having definite set of properties. Suppose if we will add For example, in terms of water, so there is the ratio is 2:1. So suppose if we'll make the ratio 2:2, some other thing will form, but water will not form, because the ratio becomes, the formula becomes H2O2. This is hydrogen peroxide, this having -2. Now here the ratio has been changed. Once the ratio is changing, the chemical composition is also changing. We are getting some other species, not that of water. So water will not be attained. Similarly, carbon dioxide. So here the ratio is 1:2. Or in simple words, we can take its atomic mass also. Here the ratio is suppose 6:12. We cannot change this ratio, because once we change the ratio, we will get some other form, but we will not get this carbon dioxide, this form. So this is the second property, means they should have pure or definite set of properties. Now third, they cannot be separated by physical processes. We cannot separate them. इनको सेपरेट नहीं कर सकते, किन से? फिजिकल प्रोसेस से। ठीक, फिजिकल प्रोसेस का मतलब कि वाटर की सीविंग कर सकते हैं क्या? नहीं, वाटर की सीविंग नहीं कर सकते। सीविंग, SEIVING, सीविंग, इसको हम सीविंग नहीं कर सकते। वाटर को ऊपर से सीव में डालो, नीचे से आप यू विल गेट इन द टब अगेन यू विल गेट वाटर, सो यू कैन नॉट सेपरेट। बट यस, केमिकल मेथड से इनको सेपरेट कर सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, वाटर कैन बी separated by a process called electrolysis. You can pass current through it. Water will be splitted into hydrogen and oxygen. So that means pure substances cannot be separated by physical means, but they can be separated by chemical means. Okay, now coming to the next characteristic. Now, after getting this chemical and physical term, after getting its understanding, so depending on these chemical compositions, we can classify now pure substance. So we can classify this pure substance into element. Now we are following the same, this that basic diagram which I have made based on chemical property, and compound. Now there is another basic difference between these two. Now element is a form of matter. Both are the forms of matter usually. Element is a form of matter which are not broken down into simpler substance by chemical means. And इसको हम break down नहीं कर element को खुसूसी. It's not pure substance. So chemical method से इसको हम break down separate नहीं कर सकते, because it's made of only one kind of particle. इसमें खाली एक ही पार्टिकल होता है, तो इसको हम ब्रेक डाउन नहीं कर सकते इवन केमिकल मीन्स से भी। यानी फॉर एग्जांपल एक एलिमेंट है दैट इज गोल्ड, इसको आपने केमिकली करंट इसमें आपने पास की, सो व्हाट विल हैपन? इट विल अगेन बी गोल्ड। देयर इज नो अदर फॉर्मेशन, देयर इज नो अदर चेंजिंग। सो इसमें कोई चेंज नहीं हुई। सो उस प्रोसेस को हम कहते हैं, यानी उस केमिकल प्रोसेस की वजह से जिससे हमने इसको चेंज करना था, बट वी आर नॉट गेटिंग सम न्यू प्रोडक्ट, तो देयरफॉर इसको हम कह सकते हैं कि केमिकल मीन्स से भी हमने एलिमेंट को सेपरेट या ब्रेक नहीं किया। नाउ ये जो एलिमेंट हैं, एलिमेंट हमने अभी पढ़ा, ये पीरियडिक टेबल में होते हैं 118। इनमें कुछ मेटल्स हैं, दे आर 93, कुछ मेटालॉइड्स हैं, दे आर 7, कुछ नॉन मेटल्स हैं, दे आर 18। नाउ ऑल कंप्राइज ऑफ 118 है यहाँ पे। ठीक, नाउ इन द पीरियडिक टेबल इफ यू विल फोकस यू विल गेट one thing here. I'll make a rough diagram for that to make you understand. This is the basic diagram of our modern periodic table, where we can see these are 4 blocks. This is S block, this is P, this is D, and this is F. Now in the S block we start with the hydrogen and we go to along the period, across the period or along the period, helium. Then it's here we are having 2 blocks, 2 periods even. So this is now lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. Then they follow the same trend. And this is the periodic table. Now in the periodic table, if you have focused there, if you have observed it keenly, you will see some zigzag line here, some zigzag type line. So these are our metalloids. These are our metalloids, means they are having some properties which are resembling with non-metalls, because these from this onwards, from here up to, so means in the left part we are getting only metalls. These are 93, and roughly with the along with this D and F block, and in between we are getting 7 metalloids, and here in the right path we are getting 18 non-metalls. So this is the whole overview of our periodic table. Now coming to our main topic, that is metal. Now इसमें हमने कुछ properties पढ़नी है metal में, and then we'll move towards metalloid and then to non-metal. Now metals are usually, इनकी properties के base पे हम metals को क्या करते हैं? क्लासिफाई करते हैं, इनको डिफाइन भी करते हैं। तो मेटल्स की डेफिनेशन बेस्ड ऑन देयर प्रॉपर्टी, यूजुअली हम कहते हैं इन द केमिस्ट्री वी से दैट व्हेन एन एलिमेंट लूजेस इलेक्ट्रॉन it's metallic in nature, means metals usually they are electropositive, they are not electronegative, and non-metals are electronegative because they gain up electron, they are little bit greedy. Now the property, first property, metals are malleable. Second property is they are ductile. Third property is they are sonorous. Fourth property is they conduct electricity and heat. And heat and electricity means current, electric current. They conduct these two, so they are called good conductors of both heat and electricity. Now, fifth property is roughly properties I'm writing here. They are lustrous, means they are having shine. Now, malleable means they can be beaten into sheets, like gold can be beaten, like silver can be beaten, Ag, like Ag, like lead, etc. Copper, iron. Now ductile is also having, they can be beaten, they can be drawn into thin wires. So इनको हम wires बना सकते हैं. Similarly, these are the examples. Sonorous means they have that ringing sound. Once you just knock on them, okay, and then they are good conductor of heat and electricity. Okay? And they are usually lustrous, means they have shine, they have shiny outer sphere, outer surface. Now similarly, non-metals, in the non-metals we can use the word they are not malleable, non-ductile, non-sonorous, usually not good conductors of heat and electricity, and non-lustrous. But in between there is the concept of this metalloid, because they are having intermediate concept. They are intermediate between both. Now metalloids, their elements having properties which are the intermediate between non-metals and metals. Their property is intermediate between two. Like for example, we are having metalloid like boron, silicon, germanium, gallium, arsenic. These are the etc. These are roughly, there are 7. Now after completing this whole part, we will move towards compound. Now what is compound? A compound is a substance which is made up of 2 or more than 2 elements which are chemically combined together. These are chemically, and it is made of 2 or more elements, but they are chemically combined together. Now these compounds are chemically combined together in a fixed proportion. For example, we can take example of carbon dioxide. It's chemically combined. It's chemically combined in a fixed proportion. अगर इसमें fixed proportion नहीं है तो नहीं बनेगा. अरे भाई कहाँ बनेगा? इसका रेशियो फिक्स होना चाहिए. कार्बन 6 ऑक्सीजन का रेशियो, it's like 8 8 16, so it's usually 32 रेशियो इसका है. ठीक. Now I see मीथेन CH4, हाइड्रोजन 4, कार्बन हाइड्रोजन 4 4, and कार्बन का 6 रेशियो 6:4. Now the ratio should be constant. Similarly with water, we are taking here atomic mass. Now oxygen, it's having 16. Now hydrogen, they are 2:16. When the ratio is fixed, they'll chemically combine and we'll get a compound. Otherwise we'll not get a compound. So it depends on its first property, that is fixed proportion. Now after getting compounds, now we'll also state its properties. The first property is elements in a compound, they combine together chemically in a fixed proportion, which we have seen here. So first property is properties of compound. So they are fixed, they are in fixed ratio. इनका proportion, इनका ratio fixed होना चाहिए, and इनको हम individual constituent elements में separate कर सकते हैं, but chemical process की वजह से, physical means से हम इनको separate नहीं कर सकते. Just like water, so we can separate them only by chemical means or methods. Chemical means है तो कर सकते हैं, physical means से नहीं. Like suppose हम water को beat करेंगे, we'll beat the water, तो कैसे क्या होगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. So we need to pass electricity through water. It will split out into hydrogen and oxygen, and we can use some other methods, chemical methods to separate. So electrolysis of water is the best example. Electrolysis of water. This is water. We'll pass electric current, we'll get H2 plus O2. Now we have separated this compound into its individual components. And third property इसी पे depend है on this second property. We can derive third property, that is इसकी property जो है ये different होंगी. When we are having water, its use क्या है? इसका use है क्या? Water का use है it stops combustion. Usually it stops combustion, so it hinders combustion. Combustion को stop कर सकता है. Now जो hydrogen बना और oxygen बना, hydrogen तो खुद एक flammable substance है, so it's just like that flammable substance. And oxygen जो है it supports combustion. It supports. अब इन दोनों को मिला के water बना, तो water तो stop करता है combustion, it stops combustion. But in turn, these two individual components of water, they are having different properties from their respective compound. Therefore, we can say the compounds, the individual components of a compound which are mixed in a fixed proportion, they are having totally different properties with respect to their individual compound. So this is the major property and the most important property. So this was all about compounds.